morning, everybody. How y'all doing? What is going on? I want y'all to tell me if you guys are getting, when I start this music up, let me know if it's too loud. Please, in the chat, somebody let me know if you can hear me still clearly. And see me. Hello. Can y'all still hear me clear? See me. Good morning, Beef Cake, Miss Lorraine, my friend, person in the building, Beef Cake. Good morning, beautiful Beef Beef. Hello, how you doing? Make sure I get so y'all can see me over here. Okay. Oh, y'all can hear me? Okay. Baby, we ready? We ready for some news? Hey, we gonna get into. We're talking about a little bit of everything. The first story we're gonna talk about. Somebody just sent me this morning. Folks on their job taking out their coworkers, murking their coworkers. Okay, BK said, hey, that beautiful Lorraine. Oh yeah, dilly, ooh, ow, ooh, yabba dabba do on President's Day. I'm off on a Monday. Oh, it's been so long. I could get used to this again. Y'all start watching these videos like you know you can and give me them big old views. I can just stay at home with y'all every day. Y'all know I got to have this petty cash. Feel free to support the channel. $65. Okay, this is hard work, honey. This is a profession over here. Research and dedication. Hey, Kizzy, good morning. Hey, Miss Annie, how you doing? What's going on? All right. Got my mods in here. Got shout out to all the members up in here. Thank y'all for being a member. It's $1.99 plus tax every month. I want to thank you for being a member.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you.
Okay, yes I do, honey. You better know I want to thank you, child. Okay, so Kizzy, Kizzy is the sponsor of Rocktown. It's President's Day. We're going to give away a bottle of this at the end of the show. So make sure you pay close attention to the things we're going to be talking about. Okay? Pay close attention to the things I discussed because the trivia questions will come from one of those things. It's going to be, and let me say something. This is Rocktown. Rocktown is a very distinguished place downtown Little Rock on Main Street. I had heard somebody said it was cheap liquor. Baby, this is not cheap. Ask Kizzy. This ain't no cheap liquor, boo. Now, this flavor is blackberry. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Okay. But we're going to give this one away. Okay? We're going to give away the blackberry. Courtesy of Kizzy. Kizzy K. Okay? And I don't believe it's cheap, boo. Her hard-earned cash as a dedicated, faithful supporter to the Eat with Philly Talk Show and more, and all of my other channels. Okay? And I appreciate her and all of you. Okay? Thank you so very much. Please, I need to win me some Rocktown. You'll be drunk in the cook brown. Blackberry. Like I said, we're going to be giving this away. So, honey, pay close attention to today's show. We're going to get started. It's going to be longer than an hour, too. I got time today. I'm off. So this show may be 2 hours. Hell, I may go 5 hours. I may do a marathon. No, I got stuff to do. I can't do that. But this is blackberry, 40%. I've never tasted it. Don't know what it tastes like, child. But it's free. It's from the kindness and goodness of our hearts. And again, it's not cheap. Okay? Only a hater would call it cheap liquor. Somebody had said I'm giving away cheap liquor. Hater! Okay. We're going to get started here in just a minute, guys. Give me a minute. guys, I'm back. Okay. Okay, guys, we're gonna get started. Everybody was speaking. Yes. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Hey, Z Grace, how you doing? Good morning, good morning. Someone didn't hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Share us out if you have a channel, if you want to. So we can get back in the algorithm, you know, hey. Y'all know we know how to do it over here. Oh, another thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to be putting together a best of video from like the best of the call-ins during the Tim Norman trial. I'm gonna best of from the talk show. So if you were ever on one of my shows and you called in or you whatever, you hit the panel, you may be in one of these best of videos because back then in the day, you loved you to feel it feel. So you just might be in that video, okay? Just letting you know, I do own it. Okay. I feel good. I'm off today, honey. I always hit the like button before I come on. Thank you so very much. Three of you didn't hit the like button. You count. Miss Lorraine is counting. Count it up, count it up, count it up. Maybe they don't like the way I'm looking today. Is it my ponytail? Is it my ponytail? Is it my brown lip gloss? Is it my my Armani brownie? Oh, what is it? I'm put a little bit more. Maybe you can't see it. Oh, you did? I know you did. I know you did. I'm just having fun, y'all. I'm just having fun right now. Okay. Good morning, Flippy. Good morning, Alice. How you doing? Thank you for coming in. Okay, thank you so very much. I do appreciate it. You know, Heart and Lorraine love you. Undoubtedly. Amen. Come on, somebody. Okay, I know you do. I love y'all back. Thank you so much for supporting me. Again, if you're just joining, we're going to be giving away some Blueberry Rocktown. No, Blackberry. Courtesy of Kizzy at the end of the show. Don't let me forget. Because you know I jump off here and after reading all these news stories, I move on my way. Morning, Queen Gertrude is in the building. Okay. Come on in. We're going to give away some of this expensive liquor. If it's cheap, let me see what you're giving away. I'm just saying. Every now and then, I got to say a little something, okay? It's cheap. Let me see what you're giving away. Because I had heard that's what you said. I need to win me some Rocktown. Well, pay close attention. It was cheap. Did they pay for it? I don't think so. Not the last time I saw her. I picked that up from you. Okay. Hey, Callie girl, how you doing? Good morning. I hope you saw it. I didn't catch it before I ended the show, but I thanked you for my cash app on my next show. Thank you so much for supporting me, Vanessa, Edgar, Callie girl. All right, y'all. We're going to start with this first story. You guys said you could hear me, even with the music playing, because, you know, I just want to try to spice it up a little bit, do something a little different here. Like I say, someone just sent me this story this morning, honey. Let me do it like that there. Okay. So, Arizona news. This man right here, honey, you know what I'm going to do? Because I am going to play this. So, let me... Okay, is it? Hold up. Let me go down here. I'm going to stop the music for right now. Okay. This man right here. Man accused of murking co-worker with a baseball bat, injuring another at Chandler Intel facility. Okay. I don't know what type of a facility that is, but they had a baseball bat at that facility. Lord have mercy. Maybe they make baseball bats. I don't know. Woo. Okay. Look at him. Don't he look cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Now, what you mad about, man? Why is you in there messing with your coworkers? What could the coworker have done to this man? Now, this is it. Look, I told you I was going to be doing new shows just talking about the news from all over. Okay, all over. We might even go over to Amsterdam and talk about some of their news. Okay, because we can. All right. This is a video, but I'm not gonna play it just yet. Let me see here. One person is murked, another is hospitalized, and a man is in custody after an assault involving co-workers in Chandler on Saturday morning. Yeah, people losing their minds. Police were called to the Intel Ocotillo campus near Dobson and Ocotillo roads for a reported assault involving a man with a hatchet. Ninja, where you get a hatchet at, Ninja? Okay, with a hatchet around 6:15 a.m. in the morning. Officers arrived and found 50-year-old Derek Lamont Simmons in front of the building carrying 2 duffel bags. Hey, Josh. Hey, Rita St. Rose. Police say Simmons told the officers that they were looking for him. When officers entered the building, they found a man who had murked from a blunt force trauma injuries in the cafeteria. Not in the cafeteria. He got them while they was on break, eating their breakfast or their lunch. It was early in the morning, eating breakfast early in the morning. Another victim had non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to a hospital. We do know that they were both employees here and that they were co-workers. You know, sometimes co-workers can get on your nerves, but you don't need to get out no hatchet, says Sergeant Emma, the Chandler Police Department Public Information Officer. Then it says press release. Chandler Police arrest suspect in violent homicide this morning near Dobson Road. That looks like that's from their Twitter. That's from the Chandler Police's Twitter account. So now let's go listen to this video. This is from the local news. The local news there, okay? Wait a minute, y'all can't hear? What is okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. I don't know why y'all can't hear. I didn't hit the mute button. Let me see here. Y'all couldn't hear anything. Tell me if y'all can hear now. Hold up. Wait a minute. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear.
50-year-old Derek Lamont Simmons facing first-degree murder and aggravated assault charges after allegedly killing one person and hurting another inside the Intel Ocotillo campus on Dobson and Ocotillo roads. Chandler police receiving multiple calls about a man with a hatchet inside the cafeteria just after 6 Saturday morning.
When we arrived, one of the
Okay.
individuals was deceased, another one was gravely injured, and the third subject was the individual who committed this crime.
According to court documents, police say Simmons allegedly killed one victim with a baseball bat, a hatchet, and a knife. Witnesses telling police Simmons struck the first victim in the head multiple times with a baseball bat. Then, the second victim, seated at the same table, stood up to confront the suspect. That's when Simmons is said to have hit them in the back of the head with a bat. However, the redacted document does not include how the hatchet and knife came into play.
Regarding the weapons that were used, we're not going to disclose that this time.
Documents also show Simmons was arrested in front of the building after turning himself in, telling police he was the one they were looking for. He was found carrying a duffel bag with the weapons used inside. Investigators still trying to figure out why Simmons allegedly did this, but according to the police report, it was a premeditated attack.
Wow.
Yeah, we do know that they were both employees here and they were coworkers. It was a violent situation, but it was an isolated incident.
Now, we also did some digging into Simmons' criminal history, and we learned that he was arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon back in 2001 in Texas. Intel also getting back to us tonight, telling us Chandler police are on site and working closely with Intel security during this investigation. Reporting live in Chandler, Casey Torres, Arizona.
Okay, and guys, I'm sorry about that. I did not know y'all could not hear me for a brief minute. I think I was just saying something like, he went in there, it was breakfast early in the morning, 6:15. He's a coworker. I don't know what you look. I know sometimes you have disagreement with your coworker, because I said this on another show the other day on the Cause I Can channel. You're working with people, you're seeing people at work more than you see your family. You're there sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours, depends on what type of a shift you have. Let me see. Let me get this. My TV is messing up here. I want to be able to have y'all on the big screen too. But evidently, I don't know what happened with this man and his coworkers that made him want to go in with a hatchet and a baseball bat and take their life. But I'm sure the Chandler police will figure that out. Thank you for sending me that story. Sorry for those families. Some man had just lost his mind, and he had already had a history of having weapons. Once these people, everybody don't need a weapon. I know we have a right to bear arms and all of that, but everyone do not need to carry weapons. Okay, guys, let's get on to the next story. What I'm talking about. We talked about Harris County, the police department there. Ben Crump is suing. Well, he's calling on the Department of Justice to do a detailed investigation into the Harris County Police Department, and then local leaders there are trying to help out, and they're meeting with the sheriffs and this, that, and the other. So they there was a video out where the local leaders met with some of the people there in charge. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Give me a minute. Hold on a second. Let me find it, guys. So I'm gonna do this while we. Okay, so can you guys, I want to know, hopefully you'll be able to hear this from the music playing. This is Community Leaders Meet with Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, okay? This is all related to the Harris County problems they're having there. So I'm going to start this. Please put a 1 to 10 if you all can hear what they're saying over the music. Okay?
In the name of the Father, most merciful, thank you for your presence. We thank the chief.
Let me know if you can hear, please.
Very productive meeting.
Put 1 in the chat.
Leaders that were here to make the sacrifice of time to attend this meeting for such a serious matter. One thing we learned in that meeting that is most important, any of the ideas that we put forth, the sheriff does not really have the ability or with the current staffing situation that he has to really fulfill those desires and those wishes.
Okay.
He admitted that what we're asking for is the right thing to do, and he would love to do them. But under the current situation with his staffing crisis and his budget situation, the resources are not there to give the inmates in this jail the true human and constitutional protections that they still deserve in this jail.
Okay, I'm gonna start over since you guys couldn't hear it.
In the name of Allah, the Omnipotent Merciful, we thank you for your presence. We thank the Chief Sheriff for giving us the meeting, very productive meeting. And we thank those organizational leaders that are here who made the sacrifice of the time to attend this meeting for such a serious matter. One thing we learned in that meeting that is most important, any of the ideas that we put forth, the sheriff does not really have the ability with the current staffing situation that he has to really fulfill those desires and those wishes. He admitted that what we're asking for is the right thing to do, and he would love to do them. But under the current situation with his staffing crisis and his budget situation, the resources are not there to give the inmates in this jail the true human and constitutional protections that they still deserve in this jail. Everybody in the jail is not guilty, but even for those who are guilty, they still have a right to basic human health services. They have a right to constitutional protections. And it is unfortunate we are learning more and more now that you have deputies that are working double shifts, overworked, and severely underpaid. Some of these deputies are not even taking vacations, and they're not even days off, working in one of the most stressful environments in America, in one of the most dangerous situations in America. You had a female sergeant here, a sergeant that was raped and assaulted here at the jail because she didn't have the adequate staffing and backup to give her the assistance that she needs. Let's stop playing games in Harris County and give the resources to this jail that is needed, desperately needed, that he can hire the qualified people he needs to hire, and that we can have the additional extra staffing that is needed to provide a quality of service to all of these inmates. We honestly believe that a lot of this abuse would cease to a great level. I don't think it would all end because there's bad apples everywhere. But at the level that it is right now, it would not be if the man had the staffing that he needs and the budget to hire those employees that he's not being given by Commissioner's Court. It is a shame and a disgrace what is happening with the medical situation in this jail, because he does not even have the staff to escort people from medical to the cells to give out medical meds to the inmates, because they don't have enough staff to escort the people even medical. And that's why some of these offenders are staying in these jail cells, not even getting their meds, because they don't have enough staff to escort the nurses to these jail cells. They're trying to bring everybody to medical. It's a shame. More can be done in a civilized nation, and we in a civilized county must do more to make sure that the men and women that work here are working in a safer environment, but also the men and women that are being housed here, awaiting their day in court, receive their constitutional rights and their human protections.
Are there any questions?
Honey, this representative right here in Texas, Harris County, her and her cowboy, she make me want to go get me a cowboy hat. She be styling, honey.
We done.
In Spanish?
Sí.
Okay.
Come this way. Come this way. Yeah.
Give me one.
A little bit more this way. Okay, give me one. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Hola. Okay.
I just wanted to add this. I'm just going to add this before he speaks real quick.
Okay.
Is that in the actual meeting, we have decided that we are going to join forces with LULAC so we can ensure that Sheriff Ed Gonzalez get the funding that's needed in order to run this jail effectively. Because like Brother Quanell X said, that is the actual issue. And that's why we have came together and we're going to join together in order for this to happen. So the 8th Amendment is not violated in these jails.
What about the medication that they needed? You know, what's going to happen with that? Because it's a couple inmates, they need the medicine, and they provide another medicine. That they don't. So what he say about that. Because
Well, see, that actually falls under Harris Health. That doesn't fall under Harris County because Harris Health is contracted with Harris County. So that medical piece that deals with that falls under them. So that question needs to go to them, not Harris County. We found all that out in the meeting today.
So what's next, Dr. Candace Matthews? What's next in all of this? You know,
Well, what's next is that Commissioner's Court better get ready because we are coming together.
We're
Me
coming.
and my brother, we coming because Sheriff Ed Gonzalez needs that funding.
He sure
So
does.
we need to ensure, and this time it's not going to be just all the black people. It's the black and brown people. So you better get ready. We coming.
Yes, ma'am. Lo que quiero decir es, soy doctor Sergio Lira de parte de LULAC, representando nuestro área de LULAC y la comunidad hispana. Estamos juntos, trabajando juntos para hablar sobre este problema de para nuestro alguacil.
That this jail no longer is a house of death. Important. We also learned that the policy is if you're charged with capital murder, when you go to court, you have to be escorted by 4 deputies. So if they don't have 4 deputies to escort you, then they have to put the entire courthouse on hold until they can find the appropriate staffing to take you to the courthouse, taking deputies from one area where they're already short-staffed. So now you got all those people sitting in the courthouse waiting for long extended periods of time because the system is being clogged up by the Harris County Jail being understaffed according to the county's policy of escorting certain high-profile inmates into the courthouse. So those can be in court for just drunk driving or can be in court for a simple possession charge. But they must wait now in the courthouse until somebody over here can get the adequate staffing to escort one inmate to the courthouse. The shortage in the Harris County Jail is clogging up the entire criminal justice system in Harris County. Another point, since bail reform, a lot of the misdemeanors and small petty crime cases are no longer in the jail. They're being released. So now it's only the most serious and the most violent offenders that are staying in jail. So now you're understaffed, but you've had an explosion of population of serious violent offenders that are in the jail. This is a recipe for disaster. And so we have to make sure that the citizens of Harris County are safe, but that this jail no longer is a house of death. Because of the disgraceful neglect of citizens in Texas, Harris County Jail is the largest mental health facility in the state of Texas. That's a disgrace.
I'm going to ask you something.
Oh.
Yesterday,
Oh, Lord. You know that?
we had a viewer. He contacted and tell them his family member, his inmate, need his medicine. Okay, he got a high blood pressure, but inside the jail, they don't let it get that medicine. And his fiance have the medicine. He wanna give it to him, and they don't let him. Why
So
that
let me
happens?
explain something to you. Okay, there have been cases across the country where certain inmates have said, I'm diabetic, or I need my psychotropic medication, I need my heart medication. And loved ones will come and smuggle drugs to them with that medication. So fentanyl was actually going into the jail under the guise of high blood pressure medication. So the problem is, if somebody goes to jail and say, I need my meds, let somebody from the streets, quote unquote, in my family, bring it to me, well then how are they to be sure what they're allowing into the jail if it's not coming from a doctor that's prescribing it, sending it directly to the jail facility? We would all love that idea to work perfectly. Let the man get or her get their meds brought by the family. But there have been cases where fentanyl has been stuck into the jail, and there have been overdoses under the guise of an inmate getting their high blood pressure medication or heart medication. It's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Okay.
But that's why if you had the adequate staffing in place, there'd be a proper way to test that medication before you release it into the general population. But they can't do that And that's why what we have in this jail, man, is a disgrace, because you're asking one deputy to do the job of 5 or 7 deputies at one time. How? It's a recipe for disaster.
Look, this is the guy who needs the medicine, okay? And they give it another medicine, and he start getting some issues.
I'm not sure.
So they're talking about how things are being handled in the Harris County Jail. Inmates not getting their medicines. You know, they could be diabetic, this, that, and the other. One deputy is having to do the job that will require maybe 5 deputies. They're understaffed. They need more money. But you have to keep criminals off the street. I see some of you all are saying let low-level criminals out. What does it mean? Strap them in a chair? Then strap who in a chair? You mean all the prisoners? The issues isn't really staffing. Nobody is willing to work. And this is nationwide from correction officers. I know I'd be scared to work in there, be honest with you. Okay.
Send it to me and we'll send it to them.
And that's happening right now? That's happening right now?
We could run the story yesterday, and we want to run it again.
That's a damn, it's
How
a damn shame.
many officers are they like needing? Like from what you guys understood in the
We
meeting?
learned today that they are understaffed by 500 officers.
What?
They are understaffed by 500 officers. Only God knows what's going to happen next in these jail facilities, being understaffed by 500 officers. Harris County has grown, the jail population has grown, but the staffing has went down. It's crazy. And so we wonder why situations like this, that man should go to the hospital. But we got 15 to 20 need to go to the hospital. We got 2 deputies. How are they going to do it? And they're playing games with the budget. The commissioner's court, they could fix this problem. They got the money. They have it. Let's do the right thing. Keep the public safe. Let's keep the public safe. And let's keep hard criminals locked up. But they still have constitutional rights.
Welcome, Ren Rock TV.
And let's not ask a sheriff to do Mission Impossible and go to the Olympics and win a 100-yard dash, and we sit him there with one leg.
And on crutches.
Okay. Harris County is welcome in Windrock TV. Thank you for stopping by. Hey, Julia Martin, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. They are understaffed, he said, by 500 police officers, 500 staff members. That is a lot of people. But, you know, a lot of people, ever since COVID, it's been hard to get people to go back to work. Some people started working from home. Some people started YouTube channels, and some of them did better than others. A lot of people just didn't go back into the workforce. That's why you see a lot of companies offering incentives and signing bonuses for people. Okay. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. How you doing? Renrock, thank you for stopping by. Misuse funds. Yep. You know, they probably did misuse some funds, probably used it to take some vacations, allegedly. Okay. Okay, we're going to get to the next story, which is, we're going to go ahead and talk about, I think it's the Memphis police real quick. Hold on a second. Let me go and find that. So I'm going to start the music up for a minute. And I'll be right back. Don't y'all go nowhere. You're here. I can find it. I'm a little rocked up. I'll be back. Okay. And please let me know if there's no sound when I start this up. Okay. I think I know what I was doing wrong. Make the sound go out. All right. So the 5 police officers, they did plead not guilty But also, I saw something where we're going to talk about that too, a little article. I think they were texting pictures or something, just some weird stuff. But let's listen to this. Let me know if y'all can't hear it now, please.
We want to begin in Memphis, Tennessee, where the 5 former officers charged in the death of Tyre Nichols have pleaded not guilty this morning. The group appeared in the courtroom together for their arraignment.
The officers are charged with second-degree murder. They are accused of beating Tyre Nichols during a traffic stop last month. Nichols died 3 days later in the hospital.
All 5 officers were quickly dismissed from the Memphis Police Department following Nichols' death. Several other officials were suspended in the weeks that followed. Tyre Nichols' family addressed the officers' not guilty plea earlier.
I feel very numb, and I'm waiting for this nightmare, basically, that I'm going through right now. I'm waiting for somebody to wake me up, right? I'm really waiting for somebody to wake me up. But I also know that's not going to happen, okay? I know my son is gone. I know I'll never see him again. But we have to start this process of justice right now.
CBS News correspondent Elise Preston joins us now from Memphis. Elise, all 5 officers appeared in court together for the arraignment. Is that surprising that the group entered a not guilty plea?
Well, according to Tyre Nichols' mother, she said that she wasn't surprised that they would enter a not guilty plea, but she said we all saw what happened on the video. We do know that all 5 of those officers, they face those same charges. You mentioned the second-degree murder charge. They also face aggravated assault, kidnapping, official oppression, and official misconduct. And the DA, from the very beginning, he said that they may have played different roles in what happened that night, but they all played a role in the death of Tyre Nichols. And so that's why all of those officers face those same charges. But that was the first time that we saw these officers since all of this has happened. That was the first time that they had appeared publicly together. So now the next time that we will see them in court will be in May. And with the process, both the prosecution, both the defense, they're all saying that this is going to take some time. As far as Tyre Nichols' family, they're saying that they want this to play out right. They want to see justice for Tyre Nichols. So they're also saying that they will be at every court date because they will watch this process play out. They know that it's going to take some time, but they said that they hope in the end they will get justice for Tyre Nichols.
It's interesting, Elise, because as we were listening to the family of Tyre Nichols address the press just a short time ago, what struck me was that his mother said she wants to be at these hearings to look at these officers in their eyes every single time. She said today they wouldn't look at her, so they're reminded of the humanity that's been lost. And the lawyer there, Crump, said that it may be comparable to the cases of Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd, and that the legal process happens relatively quickly or within a year, that this may be a model. Speak to us about what we can expect.
Well, about that, I want to go back to the mother's comments, because what she also said is that they did not have the courage to look them in their eyes. And she said that she was going to come every day until that happened, and she was going to be there. She also said that this was going to be a long process, but she had to be there because she had to see justice for her son. But yes, it is going to take a time. We're told maybe a year. A judge who was former judge who was with the team, she said that prosecution may not happen this year, but it is going to play out. And they said that they want it to play out because also there may be a civil litigation piece. So they want all of that to wrap up before they move forward, Errol.
Well, Elise, we know there have been other officers and first responders disciplined after the release of the video. Are we expecting more criminal charges?
Well, the DA has said that he has not ruled that out. So we know that a 6th officer, Preston Hemphill, he was fired by the Memphis Police Department a couple weeks ago, and he was not at that second scene where the beating took place. But we did see body camera video of him in that initial pullover of Tyre Nichols, where he attempted to pepper spray Tyre Nichols, and then he is heard on camera saying, "I hope they stomp him." We also know that 3 former Memphis Fire Department employees. They have been fired. They arrived on scene, and for several minutes, they did not administer care. So the fire department has said that they violated policies there. And then we also know that 2 Shelby County deputies, they were suspended without pay for 5 days for their response. Meanwhile, the Memphis Police Department, they have 7 officers who are under an internal investigation. So 7 additional officers who are under internal investigation for their roles. And I can tell you that here in Memphis, following the death of George Floyd, there was an ordinance passed by the city council that changed these policies here for Memphis police. And one of them would require officers to intervene in certain situations. If they see another officer doing something nefarious, that those officers would intervene. And so Tyre Nichols' family, they have said from the very beginning that what hurt them is this beating, but what also hurt them is that no one stopped to help him. No one helped him, and they just watched this take place, and they did not administer care. So we do know that that is at least partially part of the grounds for a potential firing. The DA has said that he has not ruled out charges, but those could come as well.
Wow. So this really is just the beginning. Elise, Preston, thanks very much for that update.
Okay, guys. Let me stop sharing that. I was trying to find this other story real quick. Hold on, wait a minute. A quick press conference that they had done with the family. Let me see if it popped up. Okay, I do have that there. All right. Before I go to that, let's see, what are you guys saying in here? Okay, Julia Beefcake is back in the building. Hey, Beefcake, how you doing? Thank you for supporting Philly Field. Oh, ow. Okay. And I did drop the link. If anybody had any quick comments you wanted to say on any of the stories, please feel free. Don't forget, at the end of the show and all these news stories that we're talking about, we're just hitting a lot of them, okay? Because there's so much going on, all right? We're going to give away some Blackberry Rocktown, sponsored by Kizzy, made here in Arkansas. The distillery is here. Headquartered downtown Little Rock. Very expensive. Oh, we got somebody hitting the panel. What's going? Hello.
Hey, PP, what's going on?
How you doing, Beefcake? What's going on? Thank you for hitting the panel.
Oh, you know I'm going to hit the panel for you, love. You heard? You feel me? You dig?
I dig. Ooh, ow.
Yo, it's a shame that black men of today is acting like this, and they officers. That's a shame, man. You know, nowadays, man, it's already that the young youth don't got nowhere to go, and you know, other stuff that's happening. You feel me? We need strong black men to stand up. Well, I know I'm a native, so, but we need the black men to stand up and be right, man. Yo, sometimes I be thinking, yo, Malcolm X, we need a Malcolm X again, man.
Yes, we do.
You feel me? You dig?
We need a modern new age Malcolm X. And I don't know how 5 black police officers could do that to a young African-American man.
Young, yo, and he was young, man. He was a baby. You feel me?
Yes, he was.
Like, it's a shame, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding ain't going on right now.
And
you
now,
feel me?
Yes,
we need that equality for the people. You feel me? You dig?
I dig. And now his mom is without her child, and she's wanting justice, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of people need to really read that Bible, man. Really need to read that Bible, man. Get in tune with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Get that love and happiness in you, man. You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, man, it was like none of this, man. It was none of this, man.
I know people, and then that story, I don't know if you heard the story I talked about first. Some man at his job went in there and took out 2 of his co-workers.
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. It's like, yo, it's a shame in America, yo. It's very ashamed, PP. You feel me?
Yeah.
And all I gotta do is just, you know what I'm saying? I just gotta speak the wise words being spoken to the young youth, man. To the young youth, man. And these guys right here, they disgust me, man. They really disgust me, man.
And put it not guilty. Not guilty. And it's all caught on tape, but they not guilty.
No, you know what? They always go to court and say that. You feel me? They always go to court and say that, but they're gonna get justice. Trust me. God gonna give them justice. He ain't going to the pearly white gates. Bet that.
As I always say, you know, I said it in with the Andre. Justice is slow, but it is certain. It may take a while. So this mother, you know, it took 7 years. I was talking to Miss McGriggs just over the weekend, Friday, I believe. It took her 6 years almost to get 6-7 years to get justice for her son. So it's slow, but it is certain in most cases, if not all.
I know that's right. I know that's right. But yo, let me just step down and I'll be in the chat. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate your support, Beefcake. I truly do. Thank you so much.
Always, PP. Always, PP.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Always.
Gotcha.
All right.
Thank you.
Holla.
I holla. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you for coming up, Beefcake, and giving your thoughts and perspective on some of these cases, these 5 police officers. I was going to go into one other thing with them, I believe. Let me try and find the guys. So while I look for that, I know that picture's a little blurry, but hey, y'all know it is what it is. Y'all know I'm not the best with the graphics over here. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so the family, there was a press conference that, Ben Crump, he's got his hands in a little bit of everything, honey. Let's listen to a little bit of this press conference. It's not very long. I told y'all it's 18 minutes. I told y'all this is going to be a long show today. It was going to be longer than an hour. I normally only do an hour.
Even before we showed up, even before the camera showed up, I think they deserve a big round of applause.
Please let me know if you guys can hear. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear, or let me know, say we can hear or something. Okay, thank you.
And we have the SELC president here as well. And obviously we have the people most affected by this tragedy who are showing such grace under these tragic circumstances. That is the stepfather of Tyree Nichols, Mr. Rodney Wells, and the mother of Tyree Nichols, Miss Robin Wells. We can never applaud you enough for your grace and dignity throughout this. So what are we here for today at this hour?
Okay, Faye.
We're here to give a reaction to the charges that were announced by District Attorney Mulroy yesterday.
Or call in.
And to give remarks in anticipation of the last documentation of Tyree Nichols alive on this earth. And so we began with our reactions to the charges, and we applaud the district attorney for bringing charges against the 5 officers for second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. Very important charges against these 5 officers. As Pastor Thomas refers, sometimes I'm referred to as Black America's Attorney General. And
okay, Ben Crump, he say he is Black America's Attorney General. Oh, I got my picture up. You know, I said the other day that he's the new Johnny Cochran. You know, Beefcake just said that we need another Malcolm X right now. We need somebody. There comes a time somebody has to step up and be that one. It just takes that one voice. Someone has to just step up and be that one. You notice Ben Crump is everywhere. He's in Houston. He's in Florida. He's in Tennessee. Memphis. He's everywhere. But he's going to need some help. He can't do it all by himself. Every now and then you need a little help, okay, to come your way. But he's doing a good job, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
we stand on the principle of equal justice. So let me be exceedingly clear on this point. When we look at how these 5 Black officers who were caught on camera committing a crime, and when we look at how fast the police chief and the police department terminated them, and we look at how swiftly the district attorney brought charges against them in less than 20 days, then we want to proclaim that this is the blueprint going forward for any time, any officers, whether they be Black or white, will be held accountable. No longer.
But Queen says, when you know someone is guilty, why does the justice system play the stupid game? Unfortunately, we do live in America, and we do have some good laws. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and they do deserve their day in court, and they have a right to either plead guilty or plead not guilty. Because if you just take that part away and just assume and just, what if someone that really isn't guilty? And we do have a lot of people in the prison system right now that are just not guilty. That's why I personally do not believe in the death penalty. There's people on death row. There's people that have been murked on death row that were truly innocent, didn't do the crime. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I mean, it's all we have. If they want to plead not guilty, they can. But hey, when the evidence is overwhelming, justice is slow, but it's certain, and it will catch up to them eventually. My opinion. Thanks for that comment.
Can you tell us we got to wait 6 months to a year, even though we got a video with evidence of the excessive force in the crime? No more can you tell us that anymore, because with these 5 Black officers, you all moved it swiftly. And as the chief said, it was important for the community that they took swift action and that justice moved swiftly against these 5 officers who happen to be African American. Well, when it's white officers, we think it's also important to the community that there is swift action and that we move swiftly to justice. I mean, because let's be honest, let's think about it. This is not the first time that we saw police officers committing crime and engaging in excessive, brutal force against Black people in America who are unarmed. But yet, we have never seen swift justice like this. Think about Laquan McDonald in Chicago, Illinois. Attorney Ramanucci, what was that, over a year? 14 months, even though they had that video on day 1. Think about the video of Eric Gardner in Staten Island, New York. How long it took Kareem on that one. Think about all these cases. Alton Sterling, Silky in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. on video. Think about Pamela Turner, Houston, Texas, killed on video. It took years for them to bring charges in her case, even though they had the video day one. Think about Ronald Green in Louisiana. I mean, had that video for day one, took over a year to bring charges against them. I mean, so many, man, my God. Think about 14-year-old Tamir Rice on video. And why justice didn't move swiftly for any of these black people when they were killed by white police officers. So we have to make the point exceedingly clear. We now have the blueprint, America, and we won't accept less going forward in the future. We won't have black officers treated differently than white officers. We want equal justice under the law. Tyree deserved it, Tamir Rice deserved it, Ronald Green deserved it, Alton Sterling deserved it, Eric Gardner deserved it, Pamela Turner deserved it, all our children. Byron Williams deserved it. I mean, he was killed for riding a bicycle while black in Las Vegas on video. And yet the investigation is still going on over a year. And so we have a precedent that has been set here in Memphis. And we intend to hold this blueprint for all America from this day forward. Now, also, and you're going to hear from her, man, what grace and dignity for Rovon, Tyree's mother. She said previously that she feels God used her son as an assignment. And Bishop Williamson, even though it's very, very painful, and God knows it's tragic, but she believes God used her son as an assignment. Amen.
Not an assignment. Ooh.
And her and Mr. Wells said this assignment is for reform. Reform that we can try to prevent some of these hashtags of black and brown people being unjustly killed by police. That we can create a Tyree law. That's right. Here in Tennessee. Come on. Absolutely. That will be that will emphasize the importance of police officers, President Turner, to have a duty to intervene when they see crimes being committed, even if those crimes are being committed by their fellow officers. That's it. That would be the appropriate legacy that we give Tyree Nicholson if we really say we want justice for justice. It's not just justice for one family, it's justice for all of us. That's what Rovon is praying for. She wants reform. We want this duty to intervene to become Tyree's law, just like they have Carry-On Horn's law in the state of New York. And for those of you who don't know that, sister, as me and attorney Mac.
So they're trying to get a law created called Duty to Intervene, which would be Tyree Nichols' law, and named in his on behalf of him. Duty to intervene on behalf of Tyree Nichols. Intervene. If you see somebody getting beat, say something. Every now and then you got to take a stand. If you don't stand for anything, you will fall for any and everything. You got to stand for something. You got to have a point where in your life when you say, this just ain't right. This ain't right. I got to say something. You know, I got to come on here and do a talk show and talk about it. It may not be the most popular thing to do. I may not have 1,000 people in there, may not have 50 people, may not have 40 people, but I'm going to talk about it. Okay, I'm not over here cussing nobody out and dogging nobody, but I'm going to talk about it because it's Black History Month, which I think every day is Black History Month, okay? And sometimes you just need to take a stand. Okay, we like Beefcake said, we need a new modern day Malcolm X. Okay.
More talk this morning. Carrie Ann Horn was a black police officer. She witnessed one of her fellow officers brutalizing a black citizen. And she intervened and stopped him and got assaulted herself when she tried to stop him. But because she intervened, she was retaliated against and she was terminated and had to fight almost a decade-long battle to get justice because they had no duty to intervene for police officers before her courageous act. And the issue is we have to make it official. We have to make it documented. We got to put it on the books. We have to have notice that police officers, you have a duty to intervene when you see a crime being committed. You expect the people to say something. Well, why don't y'all show us how to do it? You all go first when you see a crime being committed. And then people in our community will feel a lot more safe when they go intervene and say, we saw a crime. When you want us to tell what we saw, well, you tell what you saw too. Amen?
I know that's right. Amen.
And so this is what Miss Rose Vaughn and Rodney and Jamal and Kiwana and Michael, his siblings, that's what they want. They want reform with these charges. Now, before I bring Attorney Tony Ramanucci up to give some remarks before we bring the family, we want to underscore just two more points. Number one, the fact that this unit had engaged in this type of brutality before. This unit had engaged in excessive use of force against black citizens before. And Attorney Ramanucci and I plan to make sure that is pointed out in the civil case on behalf of Tyre Nichols, because as citizens have reached out to us and the family about this happened to them. There's a brother who said 4 or 5 days before this happened to Tyre, that same Scorpion unit confronted him while he was in his car going to get pizza. And he said that they used all kind of profanity against him. They threw him on the ground, talking about where the drugs and where the weapons, and he was like Tyre, put a gun to his head. And this brother, after he survived this ordeal, he said he called to the police department twice to internal affairs, twice. And they never responded to him. If they would have responded to him, we might not be here today.
That's right.
And so that's why we plan on making sure any citizen in Memphis
Thank you.
who
Feel free to support the
had to face the brutality of this Scorpion organized crime unit, I guess as they're distinguished, will come forward. We had an older gentleman, right, Mr. Reed, 66 years old, said he was confronted by this unit and he was brutalized. And he had pictures of his injuries. And so it was foreseeable.
This is the Scorpion unit.
It was foreseeable that
Scorpion.
something tragic like this was going to happen when you have police officers given, as Attorney Ramanucci and our legal team discussed, not just immunity, but impunity to trample on the constitutional rights of people who who looked a certain color, who lived in a certain community. And so we believe that this was a pattern in practice. And Tyree is dead because that pattern in practice went unchecked by the people who were supposed to check that. And I think we're so thankful to Chief Davis. Now, her leadership through this ordeal should be applauded as an example for other police chiefs and leadership. But we agree with her when she says policy means nothing if you have a culture. If that culture is rotten, you can make all the policy in the world because the culture does not respect policy. We have to make sure that the culture not only respects the policy, but the culture respects the community. And that is what we have to do.
Alice, you are showing up right on that, honey. Kinfolk can be your worst enemy. Kinfolk, blood, that bloodline. Okay? Remember I told you that, all right?
We're going to give Tyree Nichols the proper legacy. And then finally, we think about, as Ms. Robon said, they came to her house and they told her she couldn't go to the hospital. And it wasn't until 4 a.m. in the morning that the doctor called her. They told her that her son had been pepper sprayed and tased and that he was nearby. Never told them where they were at. And so we believe that we cannot allow anybody to ever cover up crimes against our loved ones in our community. It happens far too much in America. And we have to have this conversation over and over and over again until it stops. We have to talk about this institutionalized police culture that has this unwritten law that you can engage in excessive use of force against Black and brown people. We have to have this conversation because this institutionalized police culture that suggests you can do this to people in certain communities who look a certain way cannot be tolerated. It doesn't matter if the officer is a Black officer, a Hispanic officer, or a white officer. It is the culture that allows them to think they can do this to Tyree, that they can do this to Keenan Anderson in Los Angeles, California, that they can do it to Byron Williams in Las Vegas. I mean, to come and attack a Black man just for riding on a bicycle. It is the culture. And we have to call out this culture every time we get a chance. We gonna call it out? Yes. Call it out. Call out the culture. 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 We have to call out the culture. And that has to be the conversation, or those hashtags will continue to pile up quicker than we can keep up. And the only way, this is just the first steps to getting justice for Tyree Nichols. The only way we get full justice for Tyree Nichols is it's the institutionalized police culture that is on trial today. And the only way we get justice for Tyree Nichols is if we call out this institutionalized police culture so we can get full justice for Tyree Nichols. 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 Thank you all.
Okay. I thought we were going to get to hear the family speak. That must be on another one. Dag nabbit. Okay. Well, we do have more. Just hold on. Justice for Tyree Nichols. Call out the culture. Ben is everywhere. All right, guys. Hold on a minute. Let me do this right here. Okay, and I will be back in a minute. Let me find my next clip. Okay, that didn't take long. So, wait a minute. Here it is. All right. This article in the New York Times, Memphis officer texted photo of Tyree Nichols after the beating. New documents show. Now, so these police officers, not only did they beat him and take his life, then they started texting pictures. These 5 police officers, what's it called? Scorpion unit. These men right here. It says they started texting the pictures. Okay. Let's come on down here and see what it says. It looks like that's the makeshift memorial for where Tyree Nichols at the corner where the police officer beat him, a short walk from his mother's home. That has now become a memorial right there at that corner in Memphis. Memphis, as Tyree Nichols sat propped against a police car, blooded, dazed, and handcuffed after being beaten by a group of Memphis police officers. One of those police officers took a picture of him and sent it to at least 5 people. The Memphis Police Department said in documents by the state on Tuesday. The documents painted a picture of repeated misconduct by the officers, starting in the first moments after Mr. Nichols was pulled over for a traffic stop, through an arrest carried out with excessive force and continuing on through many minutes when Mr. Nichols lay on the street in dire need of medical help. And we all know how that ended up. But they were taking pictures, y'all. Sending the photograph to acquaintances, including at least one outside of the police department. Violated policies about keeping information confidential, according to the documents, but police officials said it was also part of a pattern of mocking. You know, some people like to mock and abuse and bully people. And this is what this officer was doing down there in Memphis. But police officials said it was part of a pattern of mocking, abusive, and blatantly unprofessional behavior by the officers that also included shouting profanities at Mr. Nichols, shouting profanities at Mr. Nichols, laughing after the beating, and bragging about their involvement. These ninjas was just crazy. They should never have been admitted to the police force. It says the revelations came in internal affairs documents that the Memphis Police Department sent to a state agency, in which the department asked for the 5 officers who have been charged with second-degree murder in Mr. Nichols' demise to be decertified, meaning they could no longer work as police officers anywhere in the state. They need to do that for all these police officers, no matter their race, creed, color, all of that. When they do something heinous like this, they're making an example out of these 5, and I hope they decertify so they can't come to Little Rock and be a police officer. Leave Memphis and come to Little Rock. We don't want them here. Okay, it said in the documents, police officials described how the officers worked together as they severely beat Mr. Nichols, appeared to relish the assault afterward, and then made a series of omissions and false claims in their reports about what had happened. They said they made a series of omissions and false claims. They lied. They lied. That's all that means is they lied, okay? All right. Let me get back to it over here. Demetrius Haley, the officer who sent the photographs, so it was Mr. Demetrius Haley. Was he the one that alleged the girlfriend worked at FedEx with him? Says who sent the photographs and forced Mr. Nichols out of his car, also never told Mr. Nichols why he had been stopped or that he was under arrest. After Mr. Nichols ran away from the officers, several of them caught up with him a few minutes later and unleashed a series of punches and kicks while he was being restrained. And when one officer met with Mr. Nichols' mother afterward, the officer refused to provide an accurate account of what had happened, the police official said. Despite policies requiring officers to activate their body cameras during all law enforcement encounters and activities, none of the officers' body cameras captured the entire incident. How convenient, according to the documents. Yeah, Demetrius, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. And I believe that story. I don't care. I believe it was over a woman. Okay. One of the officers, Emmett Martin III, at one point put his body camera in his car, the document said. Oh, he's just going to hide the whole thing. In reports after the January 7th assault, at least 2 of the officers said that Mr. Nichols had tried to grab an officer's gun. A lie. A claim for which there is no evidence, according to the documents, while leaving out details of the beating. Oh, they didn't tell that they beat him, but they say, oh, he tried to get the gun. All 5 of the officers were fired by the police department, as was a 6th who had fired a taser at Mr. Nichols as he ran away. City officials said on Tuesday that 7 more police officers were being investigated for policy violations in connection with the beating of Mr. Nichols, who deceased 3 days after the assault. So there's 7 more being investigated for policy violations. Oh, just ignorant. The Scorpion unit. Let me see. Can y'all see this if I pull this up? It may not let me show it. God dog it. I want to see what this Scorpion unit about. Hold on. I don't think it's going to let me see. They were talking about the Memphis Scorpion unit. But they want me to actually, pay for it in order to see. Police body camera street footage. Computer should have taking cell phone photographs of Mr. Oh, it says, can y'all still see this? Let me see here. Yeah, y'all can see that. This says police body camera and street cameras footage appear to show Demetrius Haley taking cell phone photographs of Mr. Nichols. Oh, graphic scenes. Well, I don't want to see no graphic scenes. Don't want to see that. Okay. I want to about the Scorpion unit. Let me see if I can find some information on this Scorpion unit.
Support for Here and Now comes from BetterHelp, committed to supporting mental health through therapy. Clients are matched with one of 25,000 therapists and can communicate via video, chat, or phone at betterhelp.com/public.
Memphis continues to search for answers after 5 police officers brutally beat Tyre Nichols, who later died. All 5 were part of a special unit to tackle crime hotspots, and that unit has now been disbanded. It was called Scorpion, which stood for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. Local officials praised it, but Nichols' family lawyer Ben Crump told reporters that he spoke to one man who was recently confronted by Scorpion officers as he was getting pizza.
And he said that they used all kind of profanity against him. They threw him on the ground, talking about where the drugs and where the weapons.
Let's talk about this with Keith Taylor, adjunct assistant professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York. He's a former assistant commissioner at the New York City Department of Correction. Keith, welcome.
Thank you.
Nope, I think
Support for Here and Now comes from
about to take
BetterHelp,
y'all.
committed to supporting mental health through therapy.
Hold on.
Clients are matched with one of 25,000 therapists and can communicate via video, chat, or phone
Technical
at betterhelp.com/public.
Memphis continues to search for answers after 5 police officers brutally beat Tyree Nichols, who later died. All 5 were part of a special unit to tackle crime hotspots, and that unit has now been disbanded. It was called Scorpion, which stood for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. Local officials praised it, but Nichols' family lawyer Ben Crump told reporters that he spoke to one man who was recently confronted by Scorpion officers as he was getting pizza.
And he said that they used all kind of profanity against him. They threw him on the ground, talking about where the drugs and where the weapons.
Let's talk about this with Keith Taylor, adjunct assistant professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York. He's a former assistant commissioner at the New York City Department of Correction. Keith, welcome.
Thank you.
The police chief in Memphis created this Scorpion unit in 2021 to address rising homicides. And in recent months, people have been drag racing through neighborhoods and doing donuts on the highway. So the strike team was formed. Are these types of special units common?
They are common, and they're usually created to deal with specific types of crimes that are reoccurring, usually serious in nature, and something that is beyond normal patrol activities. So these officers that make up these units, they are taken off patrol and they're handling these specific types of complaints around guns, around drugs, around whatever it is that a particular community is dealing with that is beyond normal police operations.
And in your view, are there inherent risks to some of these special units?
Yes. What can happen, depending on the amount of independence that is allowed these units, they can get involved in various types of malfeasance, ranging from abuse of authority, excessive use of force, to actual criminal violations consisting of corruption. And we see this just looking at the history of scandals that have occurred nationwide in police departments dealing with these types of units.
What was your reaction when you heard that Memphis would disband its Scorpion unit?
I think that is a reasonable thing to do if it is apparent that the department does not have a handle on their operations. And quite clearly, this incident showed that the supervisory level was not adequate to ensure that these operations can be done safely and legally by the officers. Now, there are a lot of other officers involved in the unit, and they may have all been doing their jobs, and apparently they were making a lot of arrests, and they were very active. But this incident is indicative of a severe need to stop, assess what is going wrong with the unit, and then figure out how to achieve the goals of safety and security for the communities that they serve without having this type of abuse take place.
The Memphis Police Department said its officers stopped Tyree Nichols on suspicion of reckless driving, but there's no video of that. And the police chief told NBC News the department has not yet found evidence of it. What questions does that raise for you about how this incident started?
I think it is telling that the very basis for the stop, it may not have been legal. It would also really require an examination of the past activities, arrests that this unit has conducted to see if individuals' rights were violated while they were racking up all of those arrests.
Before Tyree Nichols was killed, officials had touted the Scorpion Unit as helping to bring down crime. Here's the Memphis Police Chief Saralyn C.J. Davis on CNN Friday as to why the unit was created.
This is one of 3 teams whose primary responsibility is to reduce gun violence, to be visible in communities, and to also impact the rise in the crime. Basically, out of an outcry from the community, we had record numbers in 2021, 346 homicides.
The chief talked about being tough on tough people, but there's also reporting that people in the community felt the unit was too harsh on people. Does this clue you into something that possibly might have been going wrong with this unit?
It sounds like a lack of appropriate supervision might have been a factor. Training needs to be looked at, any specialized training that the officers received or did not receive. Also looking at the backgrounds of the officers. Having someone who's aggressive in terms of arrest may not be best suited for operations that really require a very strong level of discipline on the part of the officers' activities.
Keith Taylor, these special strike units, is there a way for these units to ever be effective? I mean, are there ways they accomplish their mission the right way, I guess?
Absolutely. The majority of police departments and police officers do their job and do it with great service and courage and integrity. But how they respond to officers who are bad officers is really important. And so you cannot simply rely on officers to do the right thing. You have to have accountability measures in place. As a former president said, trust but verify. We need that in place for law enforcement to be held accountable for not just the good things that happen, but the bad.
That's Keith Taylor of the John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York. Keith Taylor, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All Quiet on the Western Front has won 7 prizes, including Best Picture.
Okay. All right. So that was a little bit about the infamous Scorpion unit. These officers were all a part of that Scorpion unit that stopped Tyree Nichols and then for no reason, and then beat him until he lost his life, and then took pictures of it and sent it to Demetrius, the 4th one there. Oh my goodness, it's just disgusting. Okay, we got one more thing we're going to listen to, I believe. This was going back to the, let me see, which one was it? Hold on a second. Let me find it, guys. Let me find it. I'll be back in a minute. I gotta find it. Okay, so this one here is another Ben Crump. We're going back to Florida. I told you Ben Crump, he's everywhere. He's the new Johnny Cochran. So he is suing Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor. It says because Ben Crump suing DeSantis over rejecting Black history courses. So Ron DeSantis, the current governor in Florida, doesn't want Black history courses to be taught there or whatever. So Ben Crump is down there helping and assisting in a lawsuit. Let's listen. Let me know if you guys can hear this or if you can't hear it, okay?
At this time, I welcome to the podium the first Black woman to hold such esteemed position, the leader of the House Democratic Caucus
in the chat
and representative for
y'all
House
hear
District
everything
67, Leader Fentress Driscoll.
Wow. Thank you, Senator Osgood. I feel like going on.
I feel like going on.
Thank you all for being.
So I know we're going a little bit longer, like we used to. We used to do these long lives, but I feel like we're doing something positive. We're talking about cases that matter, that make a difference. We're not over here dog walking. We're not over here just wasting time. We're doing something good, okay?
In here, we know that many of you traveled from far and wide across the state of Florida to be here. Let me just go ahead and get this out the way. By rejecting the African American History Pilot Program, Ron DeSantis has clearly demonstrated that he wants to dictate whose story does and doesn't belong. He wants to control what our kids can learn based on politics and not sound policy. He repeatedly attacks the First Amendment rights of Floridians, with books being banned from libraries and classrooms, and now throwing his weight against this AP African American history course. He is undermining the rights of parents and students to make the best decisions for themselves. He wants to say that I don't belong. He wants to say that you don't belong, whose story does and doesn't get to count. But we are here to tell him, we are America. Yes. Governor, Black history is American history, and you are on the wrong side of history. Yes. And now we've been told that this AP African American history course will be altered and resubmitted, and most likely they'll make enough changes for the governor to approve it, but at what cost? And are we really okay with Ron DeSantis deciding what's acceptable for America's students across the country about Black history? This pilot program's curriculum was developed by education experts, and our AP students are some of the most intelligent in the country. The classical education model says that students in the 10th and 11th grades are in the rhetoric stage of development, where they can naturally become independent thinkers and they can handle challenging topics. Accurately teaching our history is not political until others make it so. How is it political to talk about the struggles we've endured? How is it political to talk about and to remember our history? The truth is the truth. You can't change it. Amen. It simply is. But if you try to sugarcoat it, if you refuse to teach it accurately, then the truth can be suppressed, it can be diminished, and if we are not vigilant, even erased. We all know that united we stand and divided we fall. And while Ron DeSantis tries to divide us for his own political goals, we know that to truly love our country means to bravely face our history, to know our own history, and to never be afraid to hold America to its highest ideals. Amen. We believe in an America where our past informs our future, that only by studying and understanding past fights for freedom, liberty, and full democracy can we maintain our rights today and preserve them for our children and grandchildren. We believe in an America where the ideals of our past become the reality of our present, an America where we all belong. But friends, in order to build that America, we need leaders who care not about some of us, but about all of us. Right. Because united, we stand. We need leaders who will bring the temperature down, not ratchet up the madness and create division. Because united, we stand. We need leaders who create good jobs, not anti-woke mobs. Because united, we stand. We need lower property insurance and safe neighborhoods, not more limitations on how we raise and educate our children. Because united, we stand. What we don't need is a governor who is so obsessed with woke that he is asleep at the wheel. Because divided, we fall. Make no mistake, the governor decided to pick this fight loud and in public, and he knew that this pilot program was already being edited. He knew it would attract attention. He knew that this would anger and hurt people. But he values headlines over Floridians, and his singular goal is to become the GOP nominee for president. We must all remember this moment and channel our anger at being rejected into action, because he will try to draw attention in a dozen directions, and today it's Black history, and tomorrow it's Mickey Mouse, and the next day it's gas stoves. but we must stay focused. We have 650 days to Election Day 2024, when he hopes to be on the ballot for President of the United States. That is 22 months, 162 and a half weeks, 15,600 hours, 936 minutes, and we must use every second of that time, that precious time, to do the work and make sure that a man who says that an AP African American history course has no educational value never sets foot in the Oval Office.
Amen. Amen.
But we can only do that if we organize and if we mobilize. And there's some here today, there are others who will tell you how to get involved. But in the words of the prophet Amos, in the book of Amos 5:24, but let justice roll down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. Do not give up. You keep the faith, because I know that together, we will overcome. Thank you. And now I would like to bring to the podium my distinguished colleague and freedom fighter, attorney, and state representative, Michelle Rayner.
Okay. You know,
good morning.
Ron DeSantis might try to run for president, and honey, he is a hot mess. He is a hot mess. Okay. So I believe this press conference that we're reviewing right now is very important, critical, and very educational. Okay. Just my opinion. If you're catching me on the replay because you didn't catch the live, thank you so much. I hope you made it thus far through this video, because it's a long one. I know it's a long one, but it's a good one. All right. It's a good one. Okay, let's get back to it.
All I can begin with is, what shall we say to all of these things?
Come on, somebody.
What shall we say to all of these things? It seems like every year there's a new enemy for Ronald Dion DeSantis. Black folks, LGBTQ folks, people who are pregnant, universities, y'all know the list. Actions have shown time and time again that he targets our most vulnerable. It's always been about our next generation, our children, and it is our babies who you will hear from that will pay this price for the governor's relentless political witch hunts. Now, Republicans will tell you now they love the kids, and their fight for freedom is for our children. But if they cared about our kids, why are we almost dead last in the nation for a quality education? Why do we have a housing affordability problem? Why can't people get health care if our kids are the future? Our children have been used our political pawns, and rather they're not being the focus of creating good opportunities. Our babies know what's going on. You're going to hear from them. They know that the erasure of history is not a secret. There are 2.8 million students sitting in Florida public schools right now, knowing that their governor does not want them to learn about Black history. Now, since I love a little bit of history, I'm going to walk you through some very quickly.
Come on, Sister Walker. Walk us through it. But before she does, come on now. Black history. There's a lot to be learned there. There's so much that has been done. And for this man not to even want one class to be taught about it says a lot about that governor and who's running the state of Florida, where my child now resides with my grandchildren. Oh, my goodness.
In 2018, we were warned. A then sixth grader would have been then at the time, watched our incoming governor with a radical extremism get elected. And he was campaigning on political ideologies. And he made comments like, don't monkey this up. And many of folks, they brushed these comments off. And meanwhile, that sixth grader is just trying to complete a science course. But what about this is freedom? Freedom to live. What about is this freedom? But guess what? He was telling us who he was. In 2020, this same sixth grader is now in eighth grade. He watched Florida's governor respond to the murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd by passing a bill to silence the voices of Black folks and restrict everyone's right to freedom of speech and protest. But when asked about this, he said, I'm just trying to keep people safe and businesses not being harmed. And this has nothing to do with race. And what about freedom, the freedom to speak? He was telling us who he was. And I'm going to walk you through to 2021. This 8th grader was a freshman in high school. Critical race theory is the new dog whistle, and we know that it's not being taught in the schools. He wanted to stop wokeness, and he wanted to divide kids by race. And we saw pictures of Brother Martin and Sister Rosa being wiped from our classrooms. All the while he defunded public education to fund charter schools. He ignored our housing crisis. He implemented a gas tax when it was politically convenient. And now in 2022, that same freshman is a sophomore. Their books that their upperclassmen friends had, they no longer have. And then DeSantis had the audacity to invoke MLK. He had the audacity to talk about folks' color of their skin and being judged by the content of their character. What was he telling us about the freedom to learn? Because guess what? Ronald was telling us who he was. And now in 2023, that sophomore is a junior in high school. For 5 years, they have watched their governor attack people based on what they look like, who they love, and what they believe. And now he tells students that Black history lacks value. Value means importance, worth, or usefulness of something. Value is akin to mattering. Mattering means the importance or significance. And what about this freedom to be equal? It is not only that he has showed us who he was, he is showing us in real time, and we must believe him. You cannot say on a Monday that you support Dr. King and on a Wednesday refuse to tell his story.
Come on now.
You cannot say. You cannot say you are here to serve all the children of Florida, especially our children, but only when it serves your political ambitions. You're going to hear about what we need to do, and you're going to hear about how we're going to hold these people accountable for their audacious assault on Black folks and the hypocrisy with our children. But this is what I want to tell you. They want us to be tired. They want us to get weary. But I'm holding on to the promise. I'm holding on to the promise. Let us not grow weary in well-doing, for we shall reap a harvest if we faint not.
Come on, girl.
And now I'm going to introduce Senator Gerald D. Thompson. My God, I'm just glad I had to go after her, honey.
Thank you and good afternoon. The late Black author James Baldwin said, "I can't hear what you say because I see what you do."
Come on now.
And
look, I hope you guys are getting something out of this live stream today, because it's Black History Month. And this press conference right here is very important. Listen to what they're saying. I'm telling you, it's very important. I'm a big political person. You got to listen.
What we hear in Florida is that African American history is required instruction in our schools. That's what we hear. What we see is that for almost 30 years, that law has been on the books and it has not been enforced. That's what we see. Now, we are here today to serve notice that it's time out for hypocrisy. It's time out for hypocrisy. What time is it? Time out. Time out for hypocrisy. 30 years, and there has been no consequence whatsoever for instructors who are not teaching African American history. If we say that the speed limit is 70 and someone goes 80, the highway patrol is there with some consequences. But there have been no consequences for not teaching African American history. What time is it? Time out. It's time out.
Time out. That's what time it is. Thank you. I just realized that I had two cash apps, Miss Lorraine and Z Braves. Thank you guys both so much for supporting me and sending me a cash app. I want to thank you. Okay, let's get back to the story. Here we go. Here we go. Thank y'all so much.
For hypocrisy. Now, the courses that were to be taught on African American history were intended to explore how individual freedoms have been infringed by slavery, racial oppression, segregation, racial discrimination, and laws that resulted in racial oppression, racial segregation, and racial discrimination, and to highlight those individuals who work to overturn unjust laws. But we're told by Ron DeSantis that this kind of history has no educational value. It's time out for hypocrisy. Time out for hypocrisy. In the state of Florida, there are 67 school districts, 67 counties. Only 12 of them have been deemed to be doing an exemplary job in teaching African American history. And this determination was made by the Commissioner of Education's African American History Task Force. 12 out of 67. What time is it? Time out for hypocrisy. Now, what are we going to do in terms of consequences? If it's not taught, someone needs to be held accountable. That's right. Someone needs to be held accountable. The 12, those districts that are exemplary, what are they doing differently? Well, they've adopted textbooks that depict African American people. Do you remember seeing African American people in your textbooks? No. It's time out for hypocrisy. What time is it? Time out for hypocrisy. So they have textbooks. They have staff training. Do you know there are some instructors who were surprised to know that in 1994 this law was put on the books? Why would they be surprised? Because no one ever told them. No one ever said you have to teach this. And so what time is it? Time out for hypocrisy. They have developed a curriculum. That's what the 12 have done, their own curriculum. They didn't wait for the College Board to do it. They developed their own curriculum. And their school boards adopted instruction in African American history as a priority. That is what African American history ought to be in all 67 counties. They've developed curriculum guides in the 12 counties that are teaching it. And they are teaching it across 180 days. That's the length of the school year. They're not just doing it in February as an afterthought, as an aside, as an addendum. They are teaching it 180 days a year. And so we're here today to say we understand what you say, but we can't hear what you say because we see what you do. So we want to say today that it's time out for hypocrisy, and it's time to make this law real. It's time for consequences when it is not taught. So we're serving notice today by our presence that we want the African American History Task Force in the state of Florida appropriately funded. What time is it? Time out for hypocrisy. We want to make sure that laws that apply to public schools apply to all schools. I'm working with Representative Gallup Franklin, and we have a bill that says that any school that receives tax dollars would be required to teach African American history. And what time is it? Time out for hypocrisy.
Talk about it.
So we want the African American History Task Force appropriately funded. We want recognition that this has educational value, that our lives and our contributions have educational value. And remember Governor DeSantis, remember Commissioner Diaz, remember all of the officials. We can't hear what you say because we see what you do. And I'd now like to introduce the chair of the Florida Black Legislative Caucus, Representative Diane Hart.
Thank you. Before I begin, I'd like to say to the former representatives who are here this afternoon, thank you for joining us. That's Senator Tony Hill, Senator Dwight Bullard, and we also have Senator Lorraine Osley standing up at the top. I also want to thank NBCSL. For those of you all who don't know what that is, that's the National Black Caucus state legislators, for having Representative Flowers here from Arkansas with us today. Everybody all around the country knows how important this is. The goal of education is the advance.
Hold up, wait a minute. Let me put some Arkansas connections in it. The Flowers is a really big name here in politics. Okay, they go way back. So Representative Flowers traveled up to Florida to show support. Come through, Arkansas. Come through, baby. Okay. Yes, honey, what I'm doing over here is very important. Okay, listen up.
Advancement of knowledge and the dissemination of truth, said President John Kennedy. Good afternoon. I'm State Representative Diane Hart, representing House District 63.
Okay.
I also serve as chair of the Florida Legislative Black Caucus, which she just told you. I also chair Region 6 for the National Caucus of Black State Legislators. I'm here to disseminate some truth today. We've been here before. Under this governor, our people have been attacked. Our culture has been dismissed. And now we're being told that our history lacks educational value. Education is a critical part of an individual's personal foundation. And when you choose to build a foundation on falsehoods, lies, or by simply erasing history, you've laid a foundation that will ultimately fail.
I can tell you about lies.
I can only think of one reason why this state, a state that my colleagues and this governor have called the freest state in the country, would try to hide the truth. They're afraid. What are they afraid of? What is the governor afraid of? They're afraid that by learning the truth about African American history, that Black children will change. Are you afraid that the truth about what has inspired in America will ruin the vain perspective of American exceptionalism that we push on the world? Are you afraid that your children and grandchildren will see you in their textbooks in direct opposition to the notion that all of us are created equal? I've learned that fear and intimidation will never stop the truth. Truth is something unlike fear that never dies. All students deserve a quality education that is honest about our history. And
the truth don't need no help. The truth will stand on its own. Someone once came on the show and said that the truth don't need no help. I think y'all know who said it. If you've been with me, okay?
It's time that our state stop trying to hide it. While our history is being erased before our eyes, legislative leaders have launched another attack on our education in the form of HB1.
That's what the governor said.
The last thing we need is to move to a private, more of our public education system, to privatize more of it. We know that these private schools have a history of curriculums that do not teach or value.
Right, Queen, that's what they think.
It's time to give parents more choices in public education that highlight the full experience of Black America. However, while we continue to push the state to fulfill this obligation, I'm calling on organizations such as the NAACP, the National Council of Negro Women, clergy leaders, National Panhellenic Councils, and others to join us in educating our own children.
Amen.
For the constituents who've called my office asking what can they do, call and email the governor, the Speaker of the House, and your Senate President, and tell them to keep AP, African American History, as an option in Florida schools. No longer will we wait for the governor or even the Department of Education to see its value. We know for ourselves the importance of Black people and the rich history that we as a community have contributed to the story of America.
Amen.
And by all of us coming together, our children will know it too. Because at the end of the day, this is about our children. That's right. So now I bring to the podium Senator Jones, a gentleman who really needs no introduction, a man who cares for the least of them. So I thank you so much.
Oh, now. He said, a man who cares for the least of them. For the least of them. Okay, let's hear what he got to say, honey.
I want to start off by talking to my colleagues who stand with me. In church, we sing a song, "We've come this far by faith."
Come on, man.
Leaning on the Lord. But then it goes on and say, trusting in his holy word. He has never failed us yet. To my colleagues, I tell you that the moment that we are in right now, I repeat what Representative Ranger said. Don't get weary in well-doing, because we will reap a harvest, but we cannot give up. I want to thank the clergy from across the state who are here. There's too many to name. I want to thank Attorney Crump and the student leaders who are here today. But I want to go back and thank once again my colleagues in both the House and the Senate who are here today. We're not standing here for an exercise. That's right. We're not standing here because it's cute to stand here. We're standing here because we're resisting and we refuse to allow this to happen. We are dealing with the structure.
And if you don't stand for anything, you will fall for any and everything. Okay? You got to stand for something. It's got to be something that make you say, God dog, this is just too much. God dog, I can't take this no more. I got to speak up. Okay?
Of a system that continues to perpetuate racism across this country and in this state. And let me clear this up. This is not just a Florida problem. Hear me what I'm telling y'all. Florida is just the petri dish.
That's right. Tell it.
But people from across the country.
Welcome back, Miss Lorraine. I did get your cash app and I played. I want to thank you for you and Z Braves. Thank you.
Country should be concerned of what legislatures and what governors are doing and what they are watching Florida to do, because they believe if it can happen in Florida, it can happen in Tennessee, it can happen in Colorado. We want to resist right here, right now. Ron DeSantis is a problem, but he is not the problem. The problem that we are facing is that we are not dealing with the bigger issue at hand. Crumbling schools. That's right. Dilapidated buildings in our communities. High property insurance, like Leader Driscoll said. These are the issues that's being ignored because we have to deal with the promotion of Jim Crow 3.0 by people who don't know and don't care about what's happening in Black communities, but they desire to referee how you teach our history. Focusing on AP African American Studies, that's what we're dealing with now. But the bigger issue that's at play is being ignored. We're being told to simply cry about it by the governor's staff.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Time out.
But we will not do that. Now this has our full attention, not just here within the state of Florida, but across this nation. Not just with politicians, but with community leaders. Not just with adults, but with children also. Amen. Florida offers several cultural AP courses, including European history, including Japanese language and culture, including AP German language and culture. Just like those histories has value, God dog it, my history got value too. Young people young people have to be exposed to the world's rich diversity to grow into informed global citizens who practice empathy, who can explore their curiosities and have the foundation to be able to collaborate for the greater good of all of us. The fight is not just about this AP course. The fight is against the strong uprising of racism from people who are seeing the shifting of America.
That's right. That's right.
While the full and accurate historical record might make some uncomfortable, good. Good that you're uncomfortable. That is the point of why we have to teach accurate history. Because when you don't teach history, we're bound to repeat it. And as human beings, we should be repulsed by the inhumane treatment of historically excluded groups in the United States, especially the group that represents 22% of this state, Black people in the state of Florida. We have to get serious about returning power to the people of this state. But let me tell y'all something, because I started off with it and I'm going to end with it. We've come this far by faith. Leaning on the Lord. And if you're going to believe in the Lord, you leaned on somebody. And I'll tell you this, I have faith in people. And I have so much hope in our future. We have always recovered. We have always been resilient. And we will always resist. You beat us and we recovered. You sprayed us and we recovered. You disenfranchised us and we recovered. And we have to remain strong and resilient as we have always done, even through this, until no one can bother us again. But here's what my hope is. And here's where I will end. We are not afraid to solve these issues ourselves because we understand ain't nobody coming to save us.
Amen.
And we get it. And because nobody coming to save us, we gonna save ourselves. At this time, I would like to introduce no stranger to this house, no stranger to this state, the treasurer of the American Federation of Teachers, all of our good friend, Mr. Fed Ingram.
Hi, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Fed Ingram. I represent 1.7 million teachers from across this country, inclusive of 200,000 of those teachers right here in the state of Florida that represent 2.
Now, why they got the camera on her like that? What they trying to do? But if you're just joining, or if you're watching the replay, this is a press conference that was held in Florida because the governor there, Ron DeSantis, does not want African-American history to be taught in the schools there. And the local government leaders and officials, along with being Crump, is coming together to try and do something, all right?
1.8 million children here that are being taught by my colleagues right now as we speak. Rooms, we have social studies teachers and civics teachers and people who care about history who are afraid to teach honest history. Mr. DeSantis, what part are you afraid of? Is it slavery? Is it civil rights? Is it Reconstruction? Is it the fact that we've had a president who looks like me? What part scares you, Mr. DeSantis? You are the governor. You are not the king.
Okay.
Our history matters. Because all history matters. The truth matters. And sometimes in America, our history is good, bad, and ugly. But all of it needs to be taught so that our young people can make conscionable decisions for themselves. And so we're asking you on behalf of all of these teachers who create all of this great learning and all of this great teaching that's going on in the state of Florida, leave us alone. Let us do our job. Give us the resources that we need. Give us the magic working material that we always ask for, because that's what we need to create a better environment for our students. let me say to the general public, this is not step one for Mr. DeSantis. Mr. DeSantis has banned books in the state of Florida. Mr. DeSantis has said openly and loudly that he is going to take over school boards and politicize them for his own good. Mr. DeSantis is trying to squelch teacher voice. Teachers are in the classroom and afraid to say anything about what happens to their children. Mr. DeSantis does not want us to teach honest history. Mr. DeSantis is running against people who are LGBTQ in this state. And this is about AP African American history. Sir, the best and brightest of our students would take this class. It's an optional class. It is something that we want and what we need to invest in our community so that the state of Florida is part of the United States of America, Mr. DeSantis.
Queen Gertrude has a point. It makes me angry to see how disrespectful they are towards our culture. However, semicolon, I guess people say that if black men don't respect their own culture, why should anyone else? So if you got black men that are in power and they run around and take young black men's lives, if you got black men that can dog walk women every day of their life and talk about them like it ain't no tomorrow, call them everything from a gutter snap rat to whatever, why should they care? Why should the DeSantis say, why should I care? Your black men don't respect you black women, talk about you like a dog. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, thank you, Queen. You hit the nail on the head with that one. Huh. And then you got black women that support the black men that don't support the culture or disrespect the culture. Okay.
So I will simply end with this. We have some young people here who are our best and brightest. These young people, regardless of where they come from, their social, economic background, no matter how they look, no matter what their culture is, they deserve the best of what we have to give them.
I get that from the Braxton sisters, which one? Tawana, she would always go, however, semicolon. I just threw that in there, honey.
To say, Mr. Diaz and Mr. DeSantis, that this has no educational value, shame on you. Shame on you, Mr. DeSantis. All of these people came here today to speak truth to power. But we have lawmakers in here who are committed to standing together, and so I want to thank them for that. We have clergy and pastors from all over this state who are committed to preaching this in their pulpits to let you know that we're not afraid of you. We have community activists in here whose names will never be said, but they will do the hard work of organizing against what is not right. So, Mr. DeSantis, again, you are the governor. You are not my king. And we will teach AP African American history. Thank you. I want to introduce to you. I'm sorry.
You good? No, you good. No, you good. You know, you have a lot of people that think that the laws don't apply to them. They can do and say whatever part of life it may be in. They can do and say whatever they want, but can't nobody do or say anything back to them. It's a problem when somebody says something back to them. Ron DeSantis, this one, you're not the king, sir. Sarah Huckabee, you're not the queen. Whew. It's the audacity in this for me.
You couldn't dig it, Fed. But he deserves. He needs no introduction. Please, let's bring up to the stage Mr. Ben Crump.
I love this. Now we're gonna be covering all his press conferences. Let me tell you that right now.
Thank you all for being here, especially to the leaders, the clergy, and to all of the activists in the community who said, hell no.
Hell no, we won't go.
We have to remember that is so important.
Hell no, we won't
This
go.
cause,
Say it with me. Hashtag hell
this
no,
fight,
we won't go.
so much is at stake. I'm Attorney Ben Crump,
University for me.
along with Attorney Craig Wisenhunt and with Attorney Precious Chavez
We say hell.
and the NAACP, as well as the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. We're here to give notice to Governor DeSantis that if he does not negotiate with the College Board
Hell no. Hell to the no.
to
No.
allow AP African American Studies to be taught in the classrooms across the state of Florida, that these 3 young people will be the lead plaintiffs in a historic lawsuit.
No, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute.
And you all
put a little extra thinking into it. So he said those 3 students that you see right there will be the lead plaintiffs. So that young black man, that young Caucasian lady, and that young black lady, she has signed up to be a plaintiff, baby. That's what she signed up for. She said she ain't scared. She ready. She ain't scared. She ready. Her blonde hair hanging and her short skirt over her knees. She ready. She in it to win it. Thank you. Okay.
I need to remember their names because it's their courageous tenacity and their intellect that reminds me, Reverend Holmes, many of the examples that were shown to the world by a young John Lewis, a young Julian Bond, a young Fannie Lou Hamer.
Come on there, Ben Crump.
You will remember the names of Elijah Edwards, of Victoria Heckman.
Come on, Vicky.
I'm sorry, of Victoria McQueen and Juliet Heckman.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Look.
This is what it's about.
Y'all know Ben was sometimes, sometimes he get the names and stuff a little mixed up. So he just called out the names of the. I want to hear it again. Let me see if I can go back. I don't want to go back too far. Hold up.
And Juliet Heckman.
Wait a minute.
Tenacity and their intellect. That reminds me, Reverend Holmes, many of the examples that were shown to the world by a young John Lewis, a young Julian Bond, a young Fannie Lou Hamer. You will remember the names of Elijah Edwards, of Victoria Heckman. I'm sorry, of Victoria McQueen and Juliet Heckman.
Elijah, Victoria, and Juliet. Okay.
This is what it's about.
Look, Elijah, Victoria, and Juliet. They are the lead plaintiffs in this lawsuit that they are filing against Ron DeSantis for AP African American Studies to be taught in the local schools in Florida. All right. So we're gonna remember one day we're gonna remember those names. Your grandchildren might have to write a paper about them one day. All right. So she's there, honey. She's standing up. You can go back, and since this is Black History Month, all throughout history, I mean, you just have to say there was always, you had the Quakers, there was always someone that had to come together. African Americans, black, white, whatever you want to say. There was always one that was willing to come up and hey, break the ranks and help out and take a stand and say, no, I don't agree with what my people's doing. Now that's just facts. If we're going to really keep history correct. All right. Let's get back to this press conference, honey.
It is about them. This is what the fight is for. Never, ever forget that. And the fact that they're coming forward in this consequential moment in history can never be taken lightly. Now, you're going to hear from them in a minute after you hear from my co-counsel, Craig Wisenhut, who has previously been victorious in challenging Governor DeSantis with the mask mandate.
Hold on, something. You know what? Let me go back to that real quick.
But I think
so he's saying his co-counsel Wisenhut is going to be coming up, who has been successful in challenging DeSantis. You know, DeSantis didn't want the people, he didn't want to make mask wearing during the most critical part of COVID. Because I remember my daughter saying, we don't have, I said, well, you better wear them. I even sent her a box. Put them on the kids too. Y'all better wear your mask. So they wore the mask, but they didn't have to. He's just going to let everybody catch the COVID down there. He caught it, let everybody catch it until they just die out. I'm sick of Ron DeSantis too. He makes me sick. I wish that man that was running against him could have beat him, but he had his issues too later to come find out. Remember the man that ran against him for governor? He turned out to be a hot mess. But anywho, yeah, Ron DeSantis, he's something else, child. He didn't even want folks to wear a mask. At least our governor then, was it who was our governor? Is it Asa, the one that, you know, he believed in masks and things.
Senator Osgood, I do think it's important though that we remember what Carter G. Woodson.
Okay, I know Charlie Crist just lost to him recently, but before, when he first won it, it was a black man running against him, and I forget his name. And he seemed to be a really good candidate going up against him, but he didn't make it, and then stuff started coming out after he lost. Child.
Known as the father of Black history said, he said, a race, if a race has no history, if a race has no worthwhile traditions that are respected and taught to the youth, it becomes a negligible factor in the thought of the world. And it stands in danger, Senator Jones, of being exterminated. And so the question really is this, brothers and sisters. Are we going to let Governor DeSantis or anybody exterminate Black history from the classrooms in Florida?
No.
Senator Hill, will we let Governor DeSantis or anybody exterminate Black history in the classrooms across America?
No.
Yeah, what this really is about is saying you cannot exterminate us, you cannot exterminate our culture, and you can never exterminate the value of our children to this world.
Right. See, this is Ron DeSantis' second term. When he ran the first time, he lost to the black man, Andrew. Okay, who was he had a position in the state already. I think I forget what he was doing, but he had a position there in St. Petersburg or whatever, where he was residing. But he did lose to Ron. And then the second time when Ron DeSantis ran, he ran against Charlie Crist, who was a former Republican turned Democrat. You know, I like Charlie Crist. But this guy doggone Ron DeSantis keeps winning. Ooh.
Governor DeSantis, are you really trying to lead us
into
an era akin to communism that provides censorship of free thoughts? Or are we going to make sure that Governor DeSantis understands that we will stand on the American principles of the free exchange of ideas, whether those are ideals and culture of European history, whether those are ideals and culture of German history, whether those are ideals and culture of Japanese history, whether those are ideals and culture of Brazilian, Canadian, everybody who is here in America, you have a right to have your culture, your history respected and taught to the children of America. We say no to censorship. We say yes to community. No to censorship. Yes to community. No to censorship. Yes to community. No to censorship. Yes to community. Because as Dr. King taught us, we're all part of the beloved community. And my final thoughts are simply this. As the court wrote in November, when it granted an injunction against the university boards, it is not for the state of Florida to declare which viewpoints will be deemed orthodox and which will be forbidden from its university classrooms. If Judge Walker holding is to be respected, we must apply the same reasoning to the advanced placement African American studies to be taught in Florida classrooms. The First Amendment protects our students in allowing them to receive essential education on the history of African American and Black studies, the court held. The high school teachers are protected against being censored, ensuring an accurate retelling of our shared history.
Support the channel if you are learning something today.
In Florida.
Okay. Well, you probably already knew all of this, but hey.
And what is that shared history, brothers and sisters? It is that Black history is American history.
Come on.
Black history is American history. Black history is American history. Black history is American.
Black history is just as American as apple pie, and I don't eat apple pie. Okay.
American history. Black history is American history. And so I will tell you this. Governor DeSantis is going to get a lesson of his own today from these young, brilliant students. Because as the Bible has taught us, God ordains strength out of the mouths of babes.
Come on, Ben Crump.
And
I think I'm gonna start calling this the Ben Crump Chronicles because I'm gonna cover all his stuff. Okay, I don't care what it is. We're gonna talk about it over here.
Before you hear from these brilliant students who represent the best that we have to offer the future.
Come on now.
I want to have you hear a little bit about the technical arguments of the lawsuit that will be filed or interplayed in the current lawsuit that is in the federal courts from a great lawyer, a great advocate, Attorney Craig Wisenhunt.
All right, Craig. See, Craig done already beat DeSantis once on the mask. So now we're getting ready to bring Craig Wisenhunt. You know, you got to have a balance on your defense team. You always, just like in business, you need somebody opposite of yourself. I'm saying this as politely and as politically correct as I can. Okay? Being Crump know what he needs. He know what he needs to do to win. So Wisenhunt gonna come on in here and tell us about the technical part. And you know I'm gonna pull that lawsuit as quick as it's filed. I'm gonna get the entire thing, and we're gonna read it from the rooter to the tutor. Okay. Let's get back to this 100. I don't know about y'all, but this is good to me. And I think I'm gonna come back later on today and review some more press conferences. Catch me if you can. If you don't, I understand. If you'd rather be somewhere else, go on and go. I'll be here when you come back, okay? You don't love me, then just leave me, all right? Oh, I feel like doing a little preaching. They up here giving all these good speeches. I'm just trying to say something.
All right.
Oh, goodness. She said she wants to have
So good afternoon. I know that everyone's truly excited to hear technical legal arguments at the end of a lot of rousing speeches, but bear with me. I want to start by pointing out that one of the reasons this lawsuit is so important.
Come on.
Is because if we do not learn from our history, we are doomed to repeat it.
Woo!
And we have been here before. And Ron DeSantis clearly did not learn from history.
Thank you.
Back in 2010, a Republican-led government in Arizona tried this very same thing regarding Mexican-American studies. And it took years, nearly 7, before a federal court shut that down. Because the government doesn't get to entangle itself in the education of students when it comes to a point of view. There are equal protections under the law. And this effort by the government.
You know, it don't take but 1 or 2. It's not taking but 3 students to file that lawsuit. So it don't take but 17 or 18 of us, and I bet we gaining more knowledge than where you might have 500,000-600,000 people gathered somewhere right now. We getting more knowledge over here. I said it and I stand on it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Governor disproportionately affects only some.
Yep.
Right? There are protections to content-oriented speech, and this only intends to limit some content. Right? The content that applies to African American studies and African American students, our Black communities, it doesn't speak to the traditions of white America, only that which Governor DeSantis seems to take exception to, which seems to be time and time again the minorities in the state of Florida. My mother was an elementary school librarian. I grew up around public schools and the idea of making sure information was available to everyone. And I had a chance on my drive up here for 4.5 hours through the rain to speak with her. She had lots of thoughts and probably could put a lot of them more eloquently than I can. But at one point we got to the topic of, well, is Governor DeSantis racist? And I said, you know what? I don't know, because that's between Governor DeSantis and God. Right? But I know that what he is doing has racist consequence.
Come on, somebody.
And that is between the governor and the law. All right? He is terrified of this concept of being awake because he is living in a dreamland where he is king and only his views matter. This lawsuit, if it comes down to it, if we have to exercise our remedies through the court, has been litigated in the past successfully against the government on the governor's own arguments. Once again, and this is going to be again inside of a few weeks, we will find ourselves in the position of a federal court telling the world that Ron DeSantis is violating the federal constitution.
He had said, somebody asked him, is he racist? He said, I don't know. But what he's doing has racist tendencies. Okay, you have to let the law sell it because they've won on this before. This has already been won in federal court. So there's precedent. Precedent means this has already happened and it has been successful. Precedent has been set, which is a good thing.
Constitution and the Florida State Constitution again.
Yeah, I like them too.
These students deserve better than the leadership we have seen so far. This country deserves better than Ron DeSantis's flawed sense of priorities and questionable views on morality and race. We can do better, and if we have to do it through the courts, we will.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Wisenhunt. First, we will hear from a young man, Elijah Edwards.
Take your time. Take your time. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay. Dear Governor DeSantis, this is not a school assignment or random spewings from a kid who doesn't know anything, but this is a factual account of how I personally feel about your decision to deny me and my fellow students our rightfully deserved AP African American Studies class.
Come on.
But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Elijah Edwards. I'm a lamplighter, community leader, and 10th grade gifted and magnet student at Sale High School. As I have gone through my years of schooling as a Black kid in Florida, I have realized that I have not learned much about the history or culture of my people outside of my parents and close relatives. This fact unsettled me for some time. But after I heard that there might be an African American Studies AP class, I was ecstatic because next year I will be taking AP classes and wanted that class to be one of them. I could already imagine the insightful discussions and daily new history facts. But instead of approving the class and giving me and my fellow students around Florida a glimmer of hope to learn about the roots of our lineage, Governor DeSantis decided to deny the potentially life-changing class and effectively censor the freedom of our education and shield us from the truths of our ancestors. I can't believe that this is 2023 and America is talking about censoring education. This is America, not a communist nation. I thought here in this country, we believed in the free exchange of ideas, not the suppression of it. I don't expect much to change in Mr. DeSantis' mind, but he has the power to work with the College Board to approve the valuable curriculum that is so desperately needed. I hope he does. It would make it so Florida students have the opportunity to expand their horizons and learn about not only their cultures, but those of their classmates. This diversity is what makes both Florida and America so wonderful and unique. Thank
You did good.
Thank you, Elijah. And his parents are also here with him. Thank you. Next, we will hear from Miss Juliet Heckman.
You know, it takes a lot. You know, not everybody can get up and give speeches like that. A lot of people get nervous. They get anxiety. You know, not everyone can do that. And he started, you know, but he did good. And I'm glad he had it written. Now, Juliet's about to come up. You know, and some people are better at public speaking than others. You know, people just sometimes express themselves differently. Okay. So you can't hold that against them. That's why I say with interviews, you know, some people can come in there with the most fanciest resume. When I used to interview people and hire people, you know, they'd have the most fanciest resume. Oh, this, that, and I've made one or two bad choices before based off of all this fanciness. And then you hire them and they don't want to do nothing. I mean, there was this one guy. Oh my goodness. That came in and had a big old pretty spread. Oh, and I did this, and oh, and I did this, and oh, and I helped create this, that. Got the job, child. Couldn't tell him nothing. Oh, I know, I got it. And never could get it. Hence, he was no longer in the position. All right, let's get back to this. How did I have this? Because I want to be on here. Let's listen to Miss Vicky. Juliet, I mean. Oops.
Good afternoon. My name is Juliet Heckman, and I'm a junior at Leon High School here in Tallahassee, Florida. Over the past 2.5 years, I've had the privilege of taking 4 AP courses, 3 of which have been history related. These classes have further advanced my knowledge of the world around me, as each class offers thorough evidence, viewpoints, and reasoning based on its designated topic. When I heard the news that there was an AP course in the works that was designated specifically to African American studies, I was grateful. Grateful in the sense that this side of history, one which is notoriously ignored and disregarded, would finally be given the proper and sufficient representation that it deserves. I was grateful that there was an interdisciplinary course that not only goes into depth on the history of African Americans, but also emphasizes the contributions made by them that have built the foundation of our country itself. Now, you can only imagine how me and many of my classmates felt when we recently learned that because we live in the state of Florida, we would not be given the opportunity to take this course because it, and I quote, lacks educational value. Every single AP course that I have taken has significantly advanced my knowledge and understanding of our world and has inspired me to learn more. And I have full confidence that this course would be no different. Simply because Florida lawmakers may be uncomfortable or even afraid with the course's criteria because it is too woke, does not grant them the right to take away this opportunity from thousands of students across the state. That's right. Times are changing, education is expanding, and students have higher levels of curiosity than ever before. It is not fair for our education to be constricted under the ignorant opinions of those who reject a course that is designed to only advance our understanding.
Her mama looks really proud. Her daddy kind of got a straight face. I mean, I don't know. But her mama is, I'm not going to speculate.
Of the world around us.
Wait, it didn't let the other ones, wait a minute. So we're not going to get to hear the other girl?
Grateful in the sense that this side of history, one which is notoriously ignored and disregarded, would finally be given the proper and sufficient representation that it deserves. I was grateful that there was an interdisciplinary course that not only goes into depth on the history of African Americans, but also emphasizes the contributions made by them that have built the foundation of our country itself. Now, you can only imagine how me and many of my classmates felt when we recently learned that because we live in the state of Florida, we would not be given the opportunity to take this course because it, and I quote, lacks educational value. Every single AP course that I have taken has significantly advanced my knowledge and understanding of our world and has inspired me to learn more. And I have full confidence that this course would be no different. Simply because Florida lawmakers may be uncomfortable or even afraid with the course's criteria because it is too woke, does not grant them the right to take away this opportunity from thousands of students across the state. That's right. Times are changing, education is expanding, and students have higher levels of curiosity than ever before. It is not fair for our education to be constricted under the ignorant opinions of those who reject a course that is designed to only advance our understanding of the world around us.
So it just cut off right there. God dog it, I wanted to hear the other girl, and then they didn't let her finish. Oh, well. Dang it. That was good. Why they cut it off like that? That really irks me. I don't understand why they did that. Huh. Well, well, okay, I'll just have to maybe I'll find the other part. I don't know, but we've been on now for over 2.5 hours. We're gonna do this trivia to give away the Blackberry Rock Town, sponsored by Kizzy. Blackberry. Sweeter the berry, sweeter the juice. Sweeter the juice, the blacker the berry. So I hope you guys have been listening to everything that's been said today. You know, we started out with the case. I know we talked about the Memphis police officers and how they were sending pictures and this, that, and the other after they took beat the young man, poor Tyree in Memphis, the Scorpion Unit police officers. Then there's 7 more that they're looking into for possible policy violations. Then we talked about a story where a man went on his job, child, and took a baseball bat and a hatchet and took out 2 of his co-workers. Well, one of his co-workers, he took their life, and another one was injured, but not really, like, really bad. And then we started looking into some of Ben Crump's, press conferences. Ben Crump is everywhere. We talked about Harris County, how the Harris County Police Department is just a hot mess right now. So the leaders there met with the Sheriff Gonzalez, I believe. And Ben Crump is also, he's on the case in Memphis. Then he's on the case in Florida with the grandmother. Don't forget about the grandmother that he just filed a case on that we talked about, Ms. Linda Stevens, I believe. So he has that lawsuit going against the Florida Credit Union, where she's a retired school teacher. She had been a banker at that credit union for over 47 years. It happened in 2021, so almost 50 now, I guess. But her house and her car is mortgaged through the place, and now Ben Crump is also there back in Florida, suing Ron DeSantis. They're going to sue Ron DeSantis, him and attorney Wisenhunt, who has beaten Ron DeSantis before on the mask mandate when he didn't want folks to wear masks, just wanted everybody to catch the COVID. So we covered a lot. I believe this was a positive live, and hopefully people will come and watch it, and it'll get in the algorithm. And like I say, watching it on the replay is just as good as watching me live. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to put up the trivia question. And the first to answer, it's a 2-parter. There's 2 answers. Put it in one response. The first person to put it in here in one response will win the BlackBerry. BlackBerry. This is hometown Rocktown. Rocktown, made right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Sponsored by Kizzy Kendra. And contrary to popular belief, it's not cheap. It's quite expensive. So PP's not running around giving away cheap liquor, as I saw someone had said. What you giving away? Okay. I'm gonna put this question up, and the first person to answer will be the winner. Oh, that looks good. Blackberry. I wonder what this stuff tastes like. Whoever wins it, I want to know, and I'm gonna want an honest review. I hope somebody, well, I'm not gonna say that because I don't care who wins it. But what if somebody wins it with a channel? I want you to come on and do a review. Pour it up, pour it up, pour it up for the one time. Say, this is for my homie Philly Phil. All right, I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna stop acting silly. Here we go. I think, it's going to, I don't want it to ticker. Wait a minute. What 2 weapons did the man use to murk his co-workers in the first story that we did? What 2 weapons did that man use? I just said it again to see if you all were listening. Who's going to be the first? Put both of them in one response. There's 2 weapons. What did he use? And to the person that sent me the story, if you're in here, you can't win now. Wouldn't be fair. You know who you are. Come on, who's typing? A bat and a hatchet. Miss Ellen, you're the winner. You're a winner. You are the winner, girl. What the 2 weapons he used on his co-workers was a bat and a hatchet. Miss Ellen Walden, well, you know the drill. Email me at eatwithphillyphil@yahoo.com, your shipping info, and I will get this to you. I'm shipping out everything this weekend. The 2 glasses and y'all know I owe somebody some stuff, so I'm shipping it out, okay? I'm shipping it out this week, everything. I think I got enough boxes. I need to get some more wraps. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Don't forget, I am going to be putting together some videos, the best of coverage from the Tim Norman trial, just some short clips, best of the panels. And, we had some hella panels. Y'all know we had some panels. Yes, we did. So Miss Ellen is the winner. And I thank you everyone for coming in. I'm going to get off now. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I had told you guys I had lost my little wallet thing that had all my credit cards and stuff in it. It didn't have my driver's license. I didn't have my driver's license in it. And I thought I had one of my gift cards in it that kids had gave me, but it wasn't. It was on my child. This card was on this table. I didn't even know. I finally cleaned off my table. Had so much stuff on here. So I'm going to be going. Thank you, kids. I haven't used it. I'm going to be going to however you pronounce it, Carnes or whoever, and get me something there. And I'm going to use some of that fire extra spicy sauce that I have to dip the chicken in. So I'll be eating from that place later. You guys have a good day. Thank you for hanging out with your girl, Philly Phil. Thank you for participating. You're welcome. Thank you to Kizzy. She was the sponsor. All right. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.